Hello my friend, Kit Plugins have two new plugins out based on Blackbird Studio's Fairchild 660 and 670. They look the absolute business, but what do they sound like? Let's dive straight in. Okay, so let's kick things off by taking a look at the 660. First off, the mono version, or the F66 as this plugin's called. Now, I haven't had a huge amount of experience using Fairchild plugins, so this is a bit of a treat for me today. But what I do know is everything really centers around these two knobs here, the input gain and the threshold. The input gain technically is where it would drive its now digital tubes, where you're going to get all the warmth and tone and character. And on the right, you've got the compressor threshold. So it's kind of a case of balancing the two out to get the sound that you're after. On the right hand side, you've got the time constant control, 6 different preset attack and release times. Time constant 1 and 2 have got the same 0.2 milliseconds attack time, but the release time is slower in the second setting. And then 3 and 4 have the same 0.4 milliseconds attack time, but a release time of 2 seconds and then a release time of 5 seconds, so much slower release time compared to 1 and 2. And then time constant 5 and 6 have an attack of 0.4 and attack of 0.2, but program dependent release time. So if you're anything like me, that's already making my head spin a bit. It will become a lot clearer when we play around with this control a little bit later in the video on the drum bus. On the left hand side of the input gain, you've got a metering control, which you can change from in, gain reduction and out. I'm pretty much going to always leave that on gain reduction. On the lower panel, you've got a side chain control, which is really cool. We're going to be checking that out on the bass in just a moment. You've got a mix knob and you've got a makeup gain control. That's it. One more small little touch that's been added by Kit Plugins that I really like is this AB control at the top here. I mean, we're talking earlier about this time constant control. It means very easily you can hear the difference as to what's going on. So you can set your time constant, say, to 1, and have those fast settings, and then you can go into sort of setting 5, for example, and you can easily AB and hear the difference between the two. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Something I do know about the Fairchild 660 is that it was attributed to quite a lot of the Beatles sound, the Fairchild at Abbey Road, and I believe Paul McCartney really liked it and rated it a lot on his bass. So if it's good enough for the Beatles and good enough for Paul McCartney, let's give it a go on bass and see what it does. So I've got this little bass line here. Let's just switch off the F66. Here's our bass. Let's switch on the F66 and just have a play around, first of all, with these two controls, the input gain and the compressor. So at the moment we're on our fast attack and release time. I'm dialing in quite a lot of gain reduction here on the bass, but now I'm going to bring in this handy side chain to alleviate some of the real low end stuff from the compressor and just focus in a bit more of the sort of punch of the bass. Now bring in a bit more compression. Just level match these. Hey my friend, just interrupting this video for a moment just to let you know about two gifts that I've got for you. The first one is a drum EQ cheat sheet. It's going to help you every time you're mixing drums. Download it from the link below this video, drop it on your desktop. It's going to be there for you on every mix. Secondly, if you like the look of this Kit Plugins plugin and you want to check it out, or any other of Kit Plugins' awesome plugins, I've got a 10% off Kit Plugins coupon for you. You'll find it below this video. I haven't got any plugins on this static mix at all at the moment. It's a project I'm working for a future course. So let's just take a listen to what this sounds like on and off within this static mix. So we'll kick things off with the 660 on. Definitely sounds like we're getting some really pleasing fatness from driving the input gain, but also we've tamed a lot of the dynamics with the compressor, but using that sidechain really helps to get that bass to punch through that mix. Next, let's take a look at Martina's F67, the 670 or the stereo version on a backing vocal bus. I think I've got 8 vocals summed down onto this bus. And I've got a feeling this 670 is going to work really well on these backing vocals. I've got the time constant set to as fast an attack and release as possible. I really want to clamp down on these vocals, compress them, glue them together. You'll notice on the 670 we've now got 3 different modes that have arrived. You've got linked, which essentially means everything that I do here on the left hand side is going to be done automatically on the right hand side, like this. You've got stereo, which means then they won't be linked, so you can use the left and the right side independently. Left at the top here, right at the bottom. You can also flip into mid-side mode as well, where the top panel becomes the control of the middle of the sound, and the bottom panel becomes the controls for the sides of the sounds. I'm going to go back to the linked control to do these backing vocals. I'm going to crank up some of this input gain for starters. Let's see what they sound like.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way, and today won't have to be the same. So don't be blue, only you can choose another way, and today won't have to be the same. What would you change about it? There's another way.
Bring in some of this threshold.
Won't have to be the same. What would you change about it? There's another way. And today won't have to be the...
So it's getting up to around -7 dB of gain reduction there on the meter. But it's gluing those backing vocals together. I think they sound great. On to the drums, and first off, I just want to show you what this plugin sounds like on the drums when I'm just driving the input gain. I'm leaving the threshold alone for now. And then I'll bring in the sidechain too, so you can hear what happens as we dial that in. So let's first off, let me show you what the drum bass sounds like. Now it's leaving the low end alone. Nice. Now I've brought in some compression. Let's take a look at this time constant control at the moment on the fastest attack and release settings. You can see it really digging into that snare at the moment. It's not picking up too much of the kick, of course, because I brought in this sidechain control. Now let's move the time constant to the slower attack time and the much slower release time. So now we can see it's kind of easier, I think, to look at the meter and actually do this musically rather than look at all the numbers in the manual. You can see even now, and the needle's only just returning back to 0. So let's go to setting 3. So I remember, I think this was like a 2-second release time. Moving quite nicely in time with the snare. Then we go back to setting 2, which I think was the faster attack. But a slightly slower attack time than 1. So we would imagine there we might be preserving a little bit more of the transient of the snare, a bit more of the initial crack of the snare, rather than over squashing it with 1. But let's take a listen back on setting 1. And as well as these 4 fixed settings, if you remember, there's also settings 5 and 6 which have those program dependent release times. That's what they sound like. And setting 6. What I've really liked about using this plugin on drums is literally just dropping it on and driving some of that input gain on the drum bus. Here's without. Great things to that snare. Nice. So that's Kit Plugins Blackbird Studio's Fairchild. What do you think about it? What do you think about the sounds of it? Let me know in the comments box below. I love to hear your thoughts. I, for one, think it's ace. I've really enjoyed using this plugin today. As I mentioned at the top of the video, I rarely use any Fairchild plugins. That's going to change because I think this plugin sounds great. Really easy to use, very easy to dial in some great sounds from it. If you want 10% off this plugin or any other of Kit plugins, I've got a link below this video. You can check that out. Whilst you're there, don't forget to grab your free drum bus EQ cheat sheet and to like and subscribe here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video today, you're definitely going to want to check this next one out.